to talk to us this morning about relationships while we're in self-isolation. We have relationship expert on the phone with us, Margot Reagan. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well.
Good.
Now, this is something around the world. China's, when China was told, everyone was told to isolate, divorce rates have been reported to have spiked. And if you can't leave the house and you're stuck with your partner, that is obviously a stressful time for relationships when you take everything else into account. So we were after some tips on your relationship, seeing the other side of any sort of self-isolation.
Yeah, for sure. I would imagine it's very difficult for people that are living in small quarters, and coupled on top of that, the stresses that people are going through as well with jobs and insecurity. I think the number one tip for me would be to make sure that you're looking after yourself, that you've got those protective factors in place, that you're taking, you're eating as well as you can, that you're getting enough sleep, and that you're trying, maybe using some meditation or whatever it is that you can do, whatever your coping strategies are to manage stress.
Right. Is it a good time to kind of like work out, how do you work out what works for you for a coping strategy? Because obviously when you're in the situation, it might be too late because you're already quite anxious and not thinking straight. So how do you kind of work out what works for you?
There's two things I do with people. One is when you've had a stressful experience in the past, what has been your go-to? So somebody would say to me, I know it's difficult that we can't physically be in close proximity, but we can still talk to people over the phone or in Facebook messaging or connect with other people. Communication. Also, people have learned tools like CBT, self-talk. What's the meaning making? What are the stories that I tell myself? Because it's very easy to catastrophize the situation that we're in at the moment. What is our language? Are we reassuring ourselves that it will be okay, that we'll get through it? And techniques like mindfulness, meditation are really powerful.
Because that's something I've heard, is that if you wake up in the morning and the first thing you do is you think about what you're grateful for and thankful for, that's a way better way to start the day than dragging your heels into work feeling miserable about it. I mean, obviously, now that I've said it out loud, that sounds very obvious.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm a big fan of gratitude. One of the things I do with couples when they come into me for a session is appreciation dialogue. So I get couples facing one another, looking into each other's eyes and asking, what is it that you appreciate about your partner? What are the characteristic traits and behaviours? We can, particularly in times of conflict and when things get really stressful, we're all in this heightened state of alertness. We're like an overly sensitive smoke alarm at the moment. Any little thing is sending us into reaction, into fight, flight or freeze. We're getting defensive,
What about, I'm a big fan of a drink.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that like a really bad idea at the moment?
Vaughn's trying to say, can I call that my self-care?
Can I call that my therapy?
My self-care.
Right, I'll see you kids later. I'm going to take my Dr. Jameson's here and disappear for a little bit for a bit of therapy. But, I mean, obviously, it's not a healthy thing to do, is to rely on it.
Yeah, as a coping mechanism or as a coping strategy, if that's the way, if that's your go-to in times of stress or in times of anything really, if it's used as a mood altering drug to change state, I would be looking for some alternatives like the meditation, like self-talk.
Yeah,
right. Okay. But more of that, a little less of the old clinkety-drinkety situation. Right.
Yeah.
Have you so far been asked by anybody? And because I heard there's thousands of people in self-isolation around New Zealand. Have you heard from anybody in self-isolation looking for help yet?
Do you know what? Not yet. There has been an increase in people contacting me. Am I available for Skype sessions? But as of yet, I haven't actually been in contact with anybody in self-isolation looking for therapy.
Right. Okay.
For that.
But it feels like it's a matter of time.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, your relationship, your website rather, relationshipcounselingtherapy.com. If you'd like to reach out, Margot Reagan, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us this morning. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Great to talk with you.